Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about capital confidence. Raise money even with a single deal. Now, a lot of people are wondering, when will I be worthy? When will I be ready? When will people be open to the idea of investing with me? And this holds a lot of real estate investors back because they think they need years and years of experience, dozens if not hundreds of deals under their belt in order to start attracting investors and raising private capital. Nothing could be further from the truth. And in today's episode, we're going to dial into exactly when and how you can start raising capital sooner rather than later. All right, a big misconception a lot of real estate entrepreneurs have is that they need to keep self-financing their deals until they build up a really significant track record of either years in the business or number of deals done. And that's a big misconception that really holds them back and limits them from growing their portfolio and bottom line, achieving their real estate dreams sooner rather than later. And nothing could be further from the truth. You don't need tons of deals or decades of experience under your belt. Do they help? Of course they do. But let me ask you this. Do you know or have you heard of any real estate entrepreneurs who just seem to kind of explode out of nowhere and ended up doing hundreds, if not thousands of deals or transactions in a very short period of time? Well, did they do that all under their own financial steam? No, they didn't. They started accessing other people's money very early in their journey. And you can too. How early? You can start even after you've just done your first deal. You can start before that, it's just a lot harder. But if you've got even one deal done under your belt, you, in my opinion, are ready to start raising capital and using OPM. That's right, even just with one deal done. That's all it takes. Why? Because here's the big thing. We can't compare ourselves with the rock star real estate investors out there that have done hundreds, if not thousands of deals. What we need to compare ourselves with are our prospective investors. And chances are, most of the people, especially if you're tapping into your existing network, most of the people that you know outside of real estate investing have never done a revenue property before in their lives, right? Their own house does not count as a revenue property. Last statistics I saw were that 95% of the general population has never invested in a revenue property. Their own house does not count, right? So if you're looking outside of the real estate space, 95% of the general population has never even done one revenue deal. So if you've got one under your belt, one successful deal under your belt, you're ahead of 95% of the general population. And in my mind, that means that you're ready to start raising private capital. So what you need to do is you need to understand that by doing this first deal successfully, you have accomplished a major milestone. You have figured out how to find a good deal, how to analyze the property. You've created your entire power team around you. You've got your team completely dialed in. You've got the whole process figured out from A to Z, or A to Z as we say in Canada, right? So you know what you're doing. Now, do you have as much experience as other people? No, but you've got a lot more experience than most of your prospective investors. I kind of liken it to way back when you're a little kid in kindergarten. If you remember back then, you were a little kid in kindergarten, and the kid that was in grade 3 or grade 4 seemed like an absolute rock star. I mean, there you were in kindergarten. You didn't know how to read. You didn't know how to write. You had to have nappy time. You're only going to school half the day. And the kids in grade 3 or grade 4 could write their name. They could add. They could subtract. They didn't have nappy time. They got to go to school for the full day. They just seemed like they had it completely dialed in. Now, looking at it objectively at this point, they weren't all that far ahead of you, but they were significantly ahead of you. Now, it's the same thing with you having done your first deal. Now, you're like that kid in grade 3 or 4, and your prospective investors are like in kindergarten. So you are a rock star compared to where they're at right now. Another big hang up for a lot of real estate investors is it's almost like they're waiting for some sort of external validation that they are ready to start raising capital. Well, guess what? When you become a real estate entrepreneur, you become an owner of your own business, your own real estate investing business. There is no real governing body out there to anoint you as being ready to raise private capital. You decide when you're ready to do that. In fact, it reminds me of years ago, a good friend of mine, Ken, was kind of complaining about a young upstart in his area. And this young guy had actually been a student at Ken's the year before, and then all of a sudden he'd kind of leapfrogged and he was just taking massive action and shaking the tree and raising a lot of capital and doing bigger and bigger deals. And Ken was feeling a little bit out of sorts about that. And I just said, hey, Ken, look at it. This kid is taking massive action. He's positioning himself as the expert, and people are attracted to that. Now, you can do the exact same thing. You'll get the exact same results. And Ken did that, and he got the exact same results as well. So bottom line is, this younger, less experienced investor leapfrogged over an older, more experienced investor just because he didn't wait for that external validation. He took it and he ran with it. And you need to do the same thing. Now, a perfect example of this is our client, Alyssa. And Alyssa, we started working with her, and within 60 days, she went from having raised zero private capital to raising $750,000 in 2 months. And she started from scratch with no previous capital raising experience. Now, she had one deal that she could point to as a track record, and that's what she did. And she didn't wait for external validation. She took that, she ran with it, she got people engaged, she got people on board, and she raised significant money very, very quickly. You can do the same thing if you want. All right, if you're interested in how to do this sooner rather than later, then grab a copy of my book, Money Partner Formula. Get it at investorattractionbook.com. It'll walk through my entire 3-phase process, the foundation, the launch, the leverage phases, each step in between, and it'll help you to raise 6 figures in a matter of weeks and even 7 figures in a matter of months, so you can do as many deals as you want to. Grab your copy today.